Hey everyone, so after making quite a few helicopter videos, I thought I would make an RC car video. In the winter I generally run my minis, that's what you see right here in front of me, so I thought I'd make a video about them. Pretty much the idea behind this video is it's going to be the truth about minis, really the good and the bad, and generally my experiences with minis. I really do like having these little guys. They're actually a lot of fun and they're pretty cheap. So I just wanted to go through pretty much the good and the bad about them, as I just said. And if you were thinking of buying one of them, so this might be a video that could kind of help you make a decision, learn through my experiences. So first off, let's just see what they are. Right here, we've got the Team Associated RC18T2. And then over here, this one is four-wheel drive, just to let you know, 18th scale. And this is the Losi Mini 8. He is four-wheel drive as well. He is 1 in 14th scale, which means he's actually bigger. So 1 in 18th, which is smaller, 1 in 14th, which is larger. And really what I'm comparing this to, or saying like what makes a mini, is anything that's smaller than 1 in 10th scale. And in this case, I am not, I'm excluding all crawlers. I don't have a crawler yet, so obviously I can't speak about them. So it's pretty much vehicles that are generally designed for either racing or bashing as far as minis go. So with that said, let's just do a quick comparison to 1 in 10th scale. So right here, I have my Losi 22. It is a 1 in 10th scale vehicle. So let's put him right here. Just line him up, just see the wheelbase. So you can see a difference in wheelbase. So he is quite a bit shorter in wheelbase. And then we'll do the 18th scale, which is even smaller. So you can see how much bigger the 1 in 10th scale vehicle is. Now let's do the track width real quick. So let me see if I can line these up right about there. You can see the difference in track width, really the width of the car. All right, put him, grab him, let's go again. And here's the 1 in 14th scale. And you can see that once again, that they are considerably smaller. So just for reference, let's put these guys back in frame. There we go. Okay, so now with all that said, let me just go over the pros and cons. So first, let's go into the pros. The biggest pro is that they're cheap. So I think these mini type vehicles became popular. I think it was in the early or mid 2000s when, around 2005, when we had, I guess it was called the Great Recession, where people, people were pretty tight with money. So the idea was obviously they're going to cost less if you're getting less, and that's kind of what it is. They're smaller vehicles. So that's really the main pro with these guys. They're a lot of fun, and they're cheap. They're much cheaper than the 1 in 10th scale vehicles. Also, their batteries are pretty cheap, so if you blow up the battery or destroy the battery, whatever, you're not going to break the bank on batteries either. There's a lot of modification parts out there you can buy that all kinds of weird companies make. Some of them are good and some of them are not so good. But they're all relatively cheap. So if you like modding out your vehicles without breaking the bank, you can do that with these. They generally come as RTRs, so a lot of the parts on them are relatively cheap. So there is a lot of stuff you can mod out that actually makes sense. So that's kind of a... So yeah, if you're strapped for cash, minis will help you out with that, and you can still have fun. They are actually a lot of fun in small areas. So if you have a big basement, they can be a lot of fun driving around your basement. Trying to drive a 1 in 10th scale vehicle around a moderately sized basement might be difficult, but these guys, they just don't need as much room. Also, if you have a small backyard, once again, minis are great for that. If you have a small driveway or substantially sized driveway, you could use that. You live in an urban area, the street is kind of small or it's kind of not something you can use. Minis might help you out there as well. Another thing is, with that said, they're actually really good on road despite being off-road vehicles. It's kind of funny. So they're really better. They're more versatile on road in the street than I would say actual on-road cars. Like some of the on-road vehicles are meant to be really aggressive, really high performance, and even the lip on, like, I don't know, your manhole cover or something like that can catch that car and send it flying. Whereas these generally have shocks and enough ride height to get right over that. So they're actually really good on road, despite being off-road vehicles, which is kind of funny. Yeah, and if you'll notice, I do have on-road tires on this guy, because that's kind of what I was doing last with them, driving them up and down the street. They're relatively durable for their size, especially if you go out and get some nice hop-up parts where their weak spots are. You can see I put little shock protectors on there, the top shock protectors on there, so they're pretty durable. And if they do break, it's not the end of the world either. The parts are cheap. So that's pretty much the pros. They can be a lot of fun, especially if you don't have, a huge backyard or something. Most people don't these days. So and if you want to buy it for your kid or something, it's not something that's going to break the bank or anything if he plays with it for, I don't know, a month or two and then forgets about it. So the downsides to them, and there are downsides, unfortunately. Once again, despite being off-road vehicles, they're actually very bad. They're not very good in the grass, just letting you know. That's why both of them, of the ones I have, are four-wheel drive. And in the summer, they tend to just kind of swim in the grass, and it's really not very fun. And that's why I probably have them out right now. On the bench, it's actually in the middle of the winter. This is when I take them out in the backyard, because the grass is thin and it's dead and it's short, and they tend to do pretty well with that, as long as it's nice and short, and they'll be fine. But in the summer, when it's thick and long and stuff, they just kind of swim out there. So you really need a larger vehicle. So generally I take them out in the winter in my backyard. Other than that, I run them on road. If I'm going to run them in the summer, I run them on road because it's just not fun. Now, with that said, I have taken both of them to the track in the summer. It was a hard-packed clay track, and they did just fine. But then again, that's smooth. That was a very smooth, fast-rolling track. It was almost on road, except there were jumps and stuff. So with that said, they don't do jumps very well. I mean, they'll jump, but they don't tend to land on their wheels very well. There's a lot of cartwheeling and a lot of flipping. So basically what I'm saying here is they hit the jump, they tend to kind of teeter-totter. Like if you have too much throttle, it'll go like this. Not enough throttle, it wants to go like this. They end up basically, it's just really tough to land the jumps. And because they're so small, most of the jumps out there or anywhere are like massive compared to them anyway. So they don't have enough mass or weight, I guess you would say. So they kind of just don't hold, they're just not stable in the air. Okay, this next one, these are RTR vehicles. When you typically buy them, you don't really build minis. They generally don't offer. I'm sure there's some companies out there that offer a build on a mini, but usually they're RTRs, so they come with all their electronics. What I can say in my experiences is get rid of the transmitter and usually the servo. They're usually garbage. The transmitter is always garbage. I have my own transmitter, spend about $200 on a nice transmitter if you're going to have a bunch of cars, that is, and sell the transmitter you get with these guys on eBay and get a receiver that works, and you'll actually be able to control your RC, your radio control vehicle, which is nice when you can control your radio control vehicle. Just get rid of those transmitters. They're garbage. The servos are usually slow and they have plastic gears which strip out. So I don't know, maybe leave it in and just run it till it's destroyed. or you could sell that on eBay too and put in a nice metal geared servo. I don't know which ones I have in there right now, to be honest with you. It was a long time ago. But I got receivers for my Sanwa transmitter. And to be honest, I actually swapped out all the electronics on these vehicles, just to let you know. And I think this one came with a brushed motor, and this one definitely came with a brushless system. So he was pretty good out of the box as far as that. But this one I had to get rid of the brushed motor. So there's that. Oh, and if you want to see them running, like I said about how they run in the grass and stuff and on road and everything, just to give you examples, leave me comments down below, and I'll make another video showing you. I'll let you see them hitting jumps. I'll let you see them running through the grass, just to give you an idea of how they handle out there. So now the next thing is, the next con is heat. They tend to overheat. I'm trying to get a heat sinks for both of them. They tend to overheat quite easily. So that's once again, I'm bringing them out in the winter in the grass, in the thin grass. That's because I can generally run the car, the whole battery through, and just the time it takes me to change out the battery and let it sit for a couple of minutes is enough for it to cool off. In the summer, I already had a Castle motor. In this guy, I'm back to the stock motor that I got, the stock brushless motor. I burned it out. Yeah, it was in the summer. I'm trying to plow through the grass with it. It was freshly cut, so it wasn't too long, but it burned out that motor. So that's the thing. So they have trouble in the grass, in your backyard and everything in the summer with thick grass, and they have heat issues too, just letting you know. That's one of the reasons why this one mostly runs on road. This one's better with the grass, but they both have heat issues. So I might go out and get different heat sinks and fans and stuff to see what I can do about that. But that's kind of what it is. They've always had heat issues. There's not much, I'm trying to figure it out. Last thing I could really say about them is not so much this guy. When I got him, he turned, the way they turn, this one felt normal. Just for the size, he seemed to turn and drive normal. This one turns funny, and it's hard to describe what that is. And I've narrowed it down to two things: either the really small wheels or just his size in general. His turning radius is very small and sharp, so he can make really tight turns. And once you get to this 1/18 scale, it seems to be funny. So I don't know how 1/16 would feel, but I know once you get to 1/18 scale, just the way it turns seems odd, and I don't know how to describe it. It just doesn't feel normal anymore. I didn't notice any difference between this guy and the 1/10 scale, or even my 1/8 scale, which are larger vehicles than the 1/10 scale. They just turn the way I feel like they should turn, where this guy turns kind of funny. And he turns really sharp, which is good if I want to ride him in my basement or something, so then you can actually get around that smaller area. So generally, those are the pros and cons of minis in my experience. Like I said, leave comments below if you want me to tell you what all the stuff is, everything I modded out in these guys. Give you a look. Let me know, and I'll make a video telling you everything that's in there, everything I did, all the different parts that I put in there, and I can make running videos and show you how they jump and stuff like that. So just let me know if that's what you want me to make. Oh, and by the way, these are the tires I use for the RC18. I don't run on-road tires in the grass. It's kind of silly. These work pretty well, actually, in the grass. And that's about it. So thanks for watching. Bye.